Are you a real estate investor looking to sharpen your skills or a newbie looking to become one? You're in the right place. Welcome to Where Should I Invest? Real Estate Investing in Canada with your host, Sarah Larby.
Yeah, I do agree. And then maybe just some insights for somebody that's just starting out. Maybe just interview like 2 or 3 of them and then just see which one you gel with the most, because I agree with you. You don't want to be mixing deals and then all of a sudden, you've got like half a deal done with one broker and then you're switching it over. It can definitely be a big mess. But like for example, like you have access to a ton of lenders. So, when you are picking a mortgage broker, you do want to make sure that they've worked with investors that have scaled up. Like, it's not like, they're just used to doing 1, 2, or 3 properties. Cause I probably, many people can do that, but not many people have the relationships to really help scale a portfolio with 10, 20, 30 plus properties, mix of commercial, a mix of like potentially borrowing private money. Like there's a whole, like you said, art to it. And the more complex that it gets, the more you're going to want somebody that's going to be able to grow with you, like you and your team, Dalia.
Yeah, Sarah, I agree.
So what is number 6?
Number 6 is not fully disclosing information to your mortgage broker. And this is key. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's say a client owns several properties in different cities. Some of these properties show up on the credit report, some don't show up on the credit report. Some clients think, okay, I should just talk about the properties that are showing on my credit reports. Maybe some of the properties are held in a corporation and they're not showing on the credit report, or they're with lenders that don't report on the credit bureau. So some clients may say, you know what, I just need to talk about what's showing on my credit. Well, what happens is some lenders will do a title search and they will come across a property that was not disclosed. And when that happens, that is very bad. It's not good. It's not good for the client. It's not good for the lender. It's not good for the broker. So I strongly encourage everybody to disclose everything to their broker. Okay. What's in a corp, what's showing on the credit, what's not showing on the credit, what's with a JV partner, what's held, on their own. Even things that are held overseas, disclose it to your mortgage broker. And let your mortgage broker do what they do best, package the deal, present it in a way to the lender that makes sense for what you're looking to do. But disclosure in this industry is key. Okay, don't try to work the system by, saying certain things and not saying certain things. No, say it as it is, and work with a professional to help you.
Well, because I think the difference is like, as a mortgage broker, you kind of work for the client, which is us, the investor, right? More so than almost somebody at the bank, which the bank hires, and that person likely has the banks, as the top of mind. But I think from a mortgage broker, not that you don't care about the bank, but I think the relationship is first and foremost between the investor and yourself. So it is important that, any mortgage broker, yourself included, your team, have that information, and then you can kind of pick and choose, because sometimes we even go to the bank and we talk ourselves out of deals by saying too much. People say that they've got an Airbnb. While there's a way to position these things, you probably don't want to be getting a straight no from the bank because you've told them that you want to Airbnb this. There are ways to massage it. There's ways to work with a broker to like not lie, but the information that is asked, provide that. And at some point, you don't need to provide everything. This is so much easier to just work with a broker that knows what to disclose based on the questions that are asked. And that's it.
Yeah, disclosure is everything. 100%.
Awesome. So what is the next one? So I think we're at number 7.
We're at number 7, yes. We're at the last one. Number 7 is about timing deals. So real story here, true story. Someone comes to us and says, I am going to buy 3 properties and I'm thinking, I want to buy them all, obviously. And you guys tell me how I'm going to finance them. So we help him develop a financing roadmap, and we talk about how we're going to close the first purchase, the second purchase, the third purchase. And the third purchase happens to be a B lender deal. So he's getting like good rates on the first 2. The third one, his ratios are a little bit higher, and therefore he's going to have to deal with a little bit of a higher interest rate. So the investor says, okay, how about this? How about this strategy? He calls it strategy. I don't call it strategy, but he calls it strategy. How about this? We close these 3 deals simultaneously with different banks and close them all, at the same time. This way I can get better rates. My answer is no. No, this is not the way to close deals. You can go to different banks and tell them each, you're closing 1 deal and get each approved. Number 1, it's fraud. Number 2, here's what's going to happen in the long run. And this is why investors need to think beyond the current state, beyond the current moment. They need to think about the long-term implications. So assume he goes to these 3 lenders and finances his deals. Later on, of course, this investor is going to continue to grow. When he goes back to these lenders, the lenders are going to look at historical purchases, when they were purchased. And they will obviously note that there were purchases that happened around the same time they individually financed the deals. That's going to raise a flag, okay? That's going to raise a flag. So instead of trying to time the system or, not disclose certain things, go with disclosure, go with the proper process, sleep at night, protect your reputation, do it the right way, and work with the right professionals. That's a real story. And thankfully, this investor, saw my point and financed the deals the way we recommended it. But that's what's called timing the deals.
Okay. Don't do that. Don't try to time. At the end of the day, the banks are very, very smart. And even if they don't find out right away, they will find out the next time around that you need them for something.
Yeah, guys, it's think beyond today. Think about the future.
Absolutely. So those are your 7, and they were very insightful. Thank you for sharing them. 7 dumb ways to die in real estate financing. Thank you for sharing those. Dalia, what do you think is, the future for 2022 from a financing standpoint? Any insights or anything that you can share?
Yes. So rates obviously is the big topic right now. And we know that rates will go up. The question is, when will they go up? A lot of predictions say that the Bank of Canada will raise variable rates by 0.5 point to 1% this year. Obviously, the last meeting, there was a lot of expectation. There were many expectations that they're going to raise, and they didn't. I still believe that the rates will rise this year. The question is when. So on that note, for real estate investors, doesn't mean that everyone needs to go and rush into fixed rates and lock rates, because I'm a big fan of variable rates for real estate investors for a simple reason: flexibility and recycling equity and continuing to grow. And if you were to take a fixed rate today compared to a variable rate, the differential is about 1.5%, if not a little higher. So there is quite a bit of runway for variable rates to grow. In terms of real estate activity, we're still seeing a lot of activity across Ontario, and yes, it's a tougher market right now, but investors are still active and they're still finding ways to pick up properties through, knocking on doors or developing like farming areas or developing relationships with the sellers themselves. They're still finding ways beyond just going through MLS. But it is a tough market, and I think it's going to continue to be a challenging market for 2022 because there isn't enough inventory. But because we deal with a lot of investors and we see different areas, there are still deals and investors are still making money. They have to get a little bit more creative, I would say, though, with respect to how they're going to add value to the property. Because if you're just looking at a regular buy and hold, it's hard to break even or cash flow in some of the major markets right now unless you go further away or unless you do something with the property.
Thanks so much for listening to Where Should I Invest with your host, Sarah Larby. Make sure to listen in next time. We'll catch you on the next episode of Where Should I Invest?